Howdy.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Ratcliffe, and I'm here with Knic Umstead. We're here at Nick's opening for his show today. He's having a show at a place in Radford called the Glencoe Museum. Um, it's a historical site, really neat place, and in the basement they often have art shows. It's a gallery. So today I want to talk to Nick a little bit about what's the motivation behind art? Because if you look around this gallery, you're going to see a lot of pieces, and each one of these things that are created take hours and hours to make. It takes a lot of informed skill in order to make something like that, different materials. And we just want to talk to Nick some about why do that? Why go through all that trouble and then the trouble of finding a venue to show it and coming in a place like this and going through the hours and hours that it takes to label everything, to hang everything up, and show it. Why do that? So we can start off by, tell us a little bit about yourself and
Okay.
why did you get started in art to begin with, and we'll work our way up towards the big question.
Okay, yeah, the big question is a big question. Um, Knic Umstead, I teach at Radford as well. That's how we know each other. We actually went to school a little close to each other, but I'm from southern Michigan, and I came to Virginia when I was very young. I've pretty much always been interested in the visual arts. I see a lot when I look around, and sometimes I feel like I get information that people, when they're not looking, don't quite get, or I have information from my own point of view. That's probably a closer way to say it. Everybody sees a lot, I'm pretty sure, because I see a lot, and I'm a person just like you.
Well, we talked about in class, we talked about the difference between looking at something and seeing something,
Okay.
and how sometimes there can be a difference.
Yeah, and I guess that's a better word is see. I do see a lot through looking, right? Now, the way I think of art is that there's all these huge ideas that we have in our minds, and a lot of times it's hard to say them because words are so limiting. We only have so many words we can use and put them in so many orders. I mean, we try hard to get really poetic and explain things, but sometimes the best way to explain something is to show somebody something. Um, Now, art's great because it's a language that transcends other languages. If we look at, like, say, the Mona Lisa, we know what's going on in that picture without having to know any Italian or anything like that. It goes beyond the language that it's made in. So someone from Japan could see these works and get kind of an inkling of what I'm trying to say. Why am I trying to say it? That's the big question,
That's a
right?
big question.
Well, because I'm not always going to be here. These things will be around a little bit longer than me. I won't be around to say all this stuff. So someday, it's just going to be that. And I won't be here to explain it or anything. They should explain themselves. So kind of it's like a diary. Um, and, a lot of the stuff I make because I don't see it in the world and I want to see it. I have this desire to see these things, and it just translates into making them. No one else is going to do it, I feel, so I should just got to do it.
That brings up another interesting question. You say you imagine things or you see things in your mind that you want to see in reality. How does what you see in your mind differ from what you end up with? How is it different or similar to the original idea that you had?
I think the more you learn about the art, the closer you can get to those ideas. A lot of times they don't look anything like what I thought in my head. And that's a disappointment sometimes, but sometimes that's a beautiful thing. Sometimes they turn out much better than you expected they would. So there is a difference between what I see up here and what eventually comes onto the thing. Because you have to understand, and you understand this, okay? But I'm talking to these guys, right?
Oh, sometimes I do.
Yeah, I mean, but the medium has its own life. The medium, I mean, the surface quality, what it's made out of. We're kind of working together, me and the medium, if you can think of it as an entity, to create something. And so not everything is controllable. And that's one of the things I love about paint is the fact that it does its own thing. The more you try to control it, the stiffer and the more boring it looks. It kind of loses its life. So you kind of have to meet the medium halfway with your ideas. And then in the end, it becomes just what it is. You kind of have had birth almost. You've given birth to these things, obviously in a metaphorical sense. And suddenly they're in the world, something that wasn't there a couple hours ago or whatever. This one probably took 30 hours, but it wasn't there 30 hours ago, and suddenly, boom, you have made something.
What's the best possible, for you as an artist, what's the best possible outcome? So you go through the creative process, you go through the physical process, you work with a medium, you make something, you frame it, you find a place to hang it, and then you hang it all up, you have people come see it. For you personally, what's the best possible thing that happens at this point?
They get it, or they get the message, or they see something new in it that I didn't see, or they just enjoy it. The hardest thing, I think, is kind of the casual just glance and move on. You know, I really want people to explore the surfaces. I'm really into objects themselves, the idea of the whole object. And part of that is the surface, and I want people to get in and explore it all. I mean, these objects, it's weird in our age of the internet where we're so used to an image, and the image just carries this impact, that when we see something like this, we think image, when actually there's a lot more going on. It's something that as you see it through the day, it changes. As you see it in different parts of your life, it changes. You know, just through the context of the times you're in. So I guess the best possible outcome is that somebody gets it and that they enjoy it, and it expands their minds, it enlivens their life. It gives them a message. I see a lot of problems also in the world, so I want to try to fix them or address them in the best way I can, which is this, you know. I'm not a politician or anything like that.
You're not?
I'm not. Believe it or not, as well as I can talk.
I was going to write him in.
Yeah, vote for me. That's what it says, vote. I know you can't read it, so I'm just going to say it says vote. But yeah, art should enliven your lives, you know. And I understand that not everybody sees things the same way, so like I don't care if people don't get my art in a way too. I mean, I care on some level, but that's their freedom and that's their opinion, and I think that's a beautiful part of our world. And sometimes I am jealous of other people's art. That's part of the thing too, you know. And the deal with that is I'm jealous, but I'm also happy. Because that means I don't have to do that thing. You know, somebody else has made that thing in the world now. And I can be like, wow, thank you, person.
When it comes to other people doing things, I think there was a saying that many people have said, but I've seen it attributed to Bruce Lee, the idea that if someone has a longer line than yours, instead of trying to shorten theirs, you try to lengthen your own. So by reacting to other people's artwork, if it stimulates some kind of jealousy, it inspires you to get in the studio.
Right, totally. And that's what keeps people going, I think, you know. I think art is, you have to have a little bit of an ego. And I think that's part of it. I mean, because it is putting your stamp on things. You're branding a creation as your own idea or as your own input into the world. And so that does involve a little ego, I think. And so it is easy for that ego to get bruised or to feel like you're not appreciated or things like that, you know. And we all go through that with everything in our lives. So it's just putting that, my job, my great work, you know, which we all have a great work inside of us that we're striving for our whole lives. Sometimes we don't make it, and sometimes we do make it there. And your great work might not be art. You might hopefully discover a cure for cancer or something along those lines. You know, we all have this greatness inside of us. We just have to tap into it.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Knic Umstead, and thank you guys for watching. I will see you on Monday. All right, have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend.
See you later. Let's see if I can stop this.